What's up, fam? I'm Six. Welcome to the Crime Chronicles. Today we have Opressure.
Push. Yes, sir.
That's like a dope ass Instagram kind of handle. It's got like this old school vibe. Like where did that come from?
A guy from this guy that I met in prison named 25 from the Bronx.
About to say from up top. Like the
Yeah, he from the
names are
Bronx.
always cats'
Yeah,
nicknames up top have like a meaning.
yeah, he gave me that name because he said when people talk to me or they addressing me, I always like seem like I'm pressing them or so he just started calling me that, and it just stuck. He's like, "Yo, you always pressing people. Like you seem like you pressing people when you talk to them. Like your level of aggression." So I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna use that as a rhyme name." You get what I'm saying? Because I consider myself an artist, and I had started rapping. So he started calling me that, and it just stuck.
Um, how much time did you
Did 16 years in the Department of Corrections, New York State Department of Corrections.
do? New York.
16 years.
That's a stretch, man.
So from 17 to 33. From 17 years old to 33.
So I want to know, like personally, like so I've done time in
Mhm.
2 year stretches too. I'm in and out. What is it like after year two, year three, and you've got some time to do? Where are you mentally at after
So
that year?
mentally, me being a teen is like, okay, I don't have the support that I thought I would have. So it's like, okay, I need to start navigating how I'm gonna do this time. I can't be thinking about baby mothers. I can't be thinking about people on the outside that's not thinking about me. I got to think about what's going on around me. You get what I'm saying? I got to start adapting to what's going on around me, and I started adapting quick. I started learning who to deal with, who not to deal with. Took me a couple experiences, personal experiences that I had, and you just start you really start thinking like, okay, I got some time to do. Let me just make it to my board, and you try to find things to occupy your time. So for
Let me
me, it
let
was education, books, reading, working out.
me ask you. You said you didn't have the support system that you thought you would have. So
Hmm.
take me back to like your family and stuff, how strong and supportive they were from the county jail to that transition to year one, year two. Like
So
how,
me saying when I say that, I say with some of my friends, so to speak. You get what I'm saying? That I grew up with. My father, my mother, my brothers, my sisters, they was there. They were supportive through letters, but they didn't come visit me like that because I was far away. You get what I'm saying? I was like 5, 6 hours away from where I'm originally from. So I wasn't getting visits like that, but I was getting letters and support from family, and a few of my friends from high school did support, but like the ones that I thought, the ones that I thought would be there, the ones that I was hanging out with every day, the ones that was in my house eating my family food, and we was on the corner doing dumb shit and all that. Like we didn't, I didn't really receive no communication from them. So that's
so
when I said,
these same cats that like, we riding, drinking buddies. This is my
yeah,
ride, shit hit the fan. Like this is who I call. We handle that. This cat,
right,
he'll die about me. I'm gonna die about him. As soon as
yep.
it required him to put pen to paper, money order to, it just wasn't that.
Yeah, I didn't get that type of support. I didn't really get that type of support. And that kind of like it made me upset at first, right? It made me upset at first, but then they started going to jail. So I was like, they gonna experience like all my mans around me started going to jail, including my brother. Like my brother was in he was there, like he had got me a lawyer, but it didn't really matter because I had copped out, but and I was trying to get my plea back. But he supported me in that way. He came to visit me a few times, but he was engulfed in the street, and the individuals that we grew up with was engulfed in the street life too. So when you think blindly, like you think that those individuals gonna be there for you because y'all loyalty in the streets. So I never experienced prison or being away from them or being away from my family. So those principles that we grew up on was like those meant something to me at the time, and they still do. But it's like I see them different. I started seeing them different through during the process of my bid, and from the beginning it was like, okay, if I ever see them, like we gonna talk about it, but it hurt me. And
Yeah.
being a young man, thinking that loyalty was, what it was, it hurt me. It bothered me at the time.
And that's like the common denominator. Every prison, jail, every place that I've been inside. Like if you've got somebody that's taking care, it's always that. Like on the rare occasion, and this is in the county, on the rare
Hmm.
occasion when that screen, visual screen come out, it's a Negro homeboy. And when they call out roll call for who sent that money, that end of that don't have your last name.
Hmm.
Like cats will send, and that's like a common theme. So I've taken that like something me personally, I've taken those life lessons. And that's kind of how I evaluate like my friendship.
Right.
That's why my circle is so kind of small because I'm like,
Yeah.
would you do for me? I assess them. Would you do for me? I don't think you built like that. I know that's how that's just something that resonates with me.
Right.
With you, what resonates with you? So from doing that type of time, what is the one thing that has like shaped you into present day? Because you've been home for a while. What's the one thing that shaped you while you were in there that's present in you right
To the person I am today, the one thing that shaped me, um, me understanding that man, one casket. You know what I'm saying? Caskets don't have bunk beds. Me knowing that I had to stand alone. Me knowing that my father bred a leader from the time I was born. He bred a leader in that I wasn't gonna be no follower. I wasn't gonna run behind gangs. I wasn't gonna run behind dudes that wouldn't lead me in the right way or that wasn't gonna teach me nothing. So I learned to stand alone, and it still carries to this day. Like I've lived in different places. When I came home, I paroled to New York City. I never lived in New York City in my life. I lived in Brooklyn. I lived in the Bronx. I lived in Jersey. You know what I'm saying? I lived in Maryland. I still stand alone. I knew that that's something that I needed to have for me, like to be a leader and be able to have the capabilities to stand alone and have a sound mind. Like one of the things that carried me is like I said, I'll never allow myself to lose my mind again. And I had like brushes with mental health or whatever, because when you in there, like you become traumatized through things that you see. But I said I'm never going to lose myself again, and I'm never going to be no follower. Like I'm not going to follow. If I know something is wrong, I'm not going to do it. If it's not for me, it's not for me. I only do what I can, not what I can't. You know what I'm
now?
saying? I got in tune with myself. Um, I really learned who I was. Learned what it was to, my ideal of what a man was based off the things that my father gave me. You know what I'm saying? His presence in my life. And that like kind of like molded me to be who I am today, because a lot of dudes followed me based on how I move. You get what I'm saying? Like a lot of guys in prison don't have father figures. So I became like a father figure to a lot of young men, you know?
That were moving, that were wanting to move like you move.
Right, right. They wanted to emulate or do, either they wanted to work out with me, they wanted to read what I was doing, they wanted to do the things that I was doing, because I kind of steered clear of, drama. I tried to. You get what I'm saying? I tried to. In the beginning, it was kind of tough because, I had to learn who was who and what was what. But after I experienced things of, just being there for people and holding people down, that I felt like, I can't see nothing happen to them. And then it got to the point where it's like, okay, you got to be concerned about you. I had children to go home to because I was a young father. So I was like, you got to be concerned about you. So I started thinking about myself and separating myself from the people that wasn't doing the things that I was doing.
And that's hard, man. Like prison is a whole society. It's like a
Hmm.
town. And that's what like it's a town. You have friends, you build these bonds with people because you're with them for years a lot of
Hmm.
times, right? And so for me, my bright spot, like I was in the sport. So I'm that guy. Like I'm running on the courts and whatever footballs, I gambled type of thing. But that was like my bright spot. That's how I
Hmm.
occupied my time type of thing. What was your bright spot during your time? Because it's a long time. What did you look forward to in that?
Where did I look for my bright spots during my time
Yeah.
playing
Like,
sports?
yeah, like your
Playing
bright,
sports for
this
me,
is
it
what
was
brought you
like
joy.
playing sports. So me, I was really good at football. I was raised playing football ever since I was like 5 years old. I wasn't even old enough to play. My godparents signed me up to play little
What's
league
the
football.
who's your NFL team?
Buffalo Bills.
Oh, I was going to conclude this. All right, y'all. Thanks for joining 60.
All
I
right,
got
see you later, champ.
giant. Yeah, I'm a diehard Eagles fan.
Yeah, getting into sports, like working out, really getting in tune to working out and getting into sports. Most facilities that I went into when I was in medium security facilities, I played football and I was known for playing football. You get what I'm saying? For winning. And people used to look at me and used to be like, yo, why you ain't make it to the pros? Why you I made some of the same decisions you made. You get what I'm saying? So my bright spots was like, yeah, playing sports and then being able to educate myself. I took college courses. I didn't continue them because they took it away, but being able to be like a role model in prison in some of these pre-release programs that I was in. You know, I was coordinators to KSAC programs like drug programs. I was coordinator in pre-release programs and programs that that really taught individuals how to think and how to navigate themselves once they were released. And a lot of guys looked up to me like I was doing presentations, like the same guy they see in the yard lifting everything and working out, and that was a stand-up individual. You see him in a different light because he's standing in front of 20, 30 individuals and doing presentations. You get what I'm saying about advancement and bettering yourself and refining yourself as a man. You get what I'm saying? And they looked at me as a role model. So that right there was one of my bright spots. And I got a counselor aid, something that you would get from the Department of Labor for hours that you put in doing counseling in prison. And then when I came home, it took me a while to kind of like acclimate myself to employment. But once I got employed, eventually I went to school to be a KSAC counselor, and I became an adolescent counselor. And that was one of my visions that I saw in prison. I said I just want a desk with a computer, and I want to be a counselor for young men. So I became a counselor for like 4 years, and currently I work with youths in
So
group homes.
take me through like your mindset day one that you just did all this time. Like, and I'm dying to know, like, what are you feeling? What are you going through day one, day two, day three of being outside and having keys, things are unlocked, you're walking in and out of doors, refrigerators.
I wanted I wanted to go to the store and just spend money, just buy candy, buy stuff that I wasn't able to do when I wanted to do it. So I would just go outside.
Did you feel overwhelmed with people moving
I did. It took me
freely?
so right in New York City. Like I'd never been to New York City in my life. So the trains and people moving fast and bumping you, that was overwhelming for me. So that triggered my PTSD. And I used to grab people sometimes, like, yo, you gonna say pardon me? You ain't gonna say excuse me? Or I just put my arm up and shield people away from me. And I always sat with my back to the I had to sit facing the door. I gotta see the door. I gotta see who coming in the door.
Yep.
I ain't like surprises.
And
My,
to give context to our viewers,
mhm.
it's not because he's this tough guy, or it's not because you got to be on point. It's even more than that. It's to send a message to everybody like I'm the type of cat that's I'm always on point.
Yeah.
Like when I sit here or I do this here, I'm breathing. To any receptors that's listening, I'm just an on point type of cat.
Yeah.
We
I
ain't
mean
on red
that too.
alert or not.
Like
Yeah, but go ahead.
that, but like what you initially said, but that too though. Like I like people to know that I'm observant and I'm paying attention. Like it just I have a natural vibe of being a authoritative figure. So when you see my size and my stature and you see I'm on point and I'm looking, a lot of times in if young individuals in the neighborhoods I live, they thought I was a cop. They said, yo, this we ain't never seen this dude. What is he's a cop? So dudes from the neighborhood, because I never lived in these neighborhoods, it's like, yo, that dude did a lot of time and he don't play. Like he'll hurt you. Like if he hear you say that, because you know you take that when people label you as a cop or a snitch and you did time and you moved a certain way, it's just like, nah, don't. But you know, I had individuals that spoke up for me when I lived in the neighborhood because I was quiet, I was reserved, I stayed to myself. Like I tried to establish like a regiment. Like I get up and take kids to school. I go work out. You know, I wanted to stay in a regiment of doing things. Then I had to do programs when I came home. You get what I'm saying? So me riding the bus and riding the train, I had to learn how to ride the bus, how to ride the train. I was getting lost sometimes, and I didn't mind getting lost because if I got lost, I learned. I
Yeah.
took it as an experience of me learning. So I had to learn different cultures, of just the New York culture alone. Because I lived in Buffalo. I'm originally from Buffalo, and it's slow. It's not. We got a train, but it's not like a massive transit. You get what I'm saying? You catching buses, you catching trains. I never used a Metro card. I never cashed a check. I never. It's a lot of things that I never did because I was 17 and I was living with my parents. So all the things that I experienced from me, just me being a father to children that I didn't know personally until I got there. You know, I started to know them. You know, I was a young father when I was home, so it was a lot of different type of experiences. You know,
It like just hearing it, because I've been in those shoes, but just so different. And like me being gone from the world for 2 years, and that feeling of like, okay, they let you out the door and I'm walking around, and I don't have to report to nothing and all that. It was it wasn't overwhelming, but I definitely was present in that moment. And you did a very long time. And like I can just imagine like the first time I'm like out this car and I got these bags. Okay, I walked in the house. Now I can just walk out this motherfucker. Y'all keep all the food right here. This refrigerator. It all ain't in a drawer next to my socks. Here's my suits, my socks, my shoes. When I
hmm
gotta lock this motherfucker, it just seems so. My hat's off.
yeah,
My
it
hat.
was it was a lot. And even so, like learning family members that grew up while you was there, like that was a process ongoing years because it's like I went home for 3 hours to where I was born, and then I went to Brooklyn where I paroled to. You get what I'm saying? So my children that I had there, they met me for 3 hours. Boom, boom. I'm like, what's good? What's good? Ate dinner. See my god family. My family was there, and everybody was there. And it's just like I had to go home because I had to report to parole. You get what I'm saying? On Monday, I got released on a Friday, and I was happy to be home. You get what I'm saying? It just felt like it felt surreal, like I wasn't supposed to. When they opened the gate and I was riding the bus to the town, because it was like an hour drive, and I'm just like, damn, I'm on this bus by myself. I ain't got no cuffs on. I ain't got no. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Free, and then using the phone, I was talking mad loud because I couldn't understand how this little ass speaker was picking up my voice because I
Yeah.
never used a cell phone before.
So were you using speakerphone
Yeah, I'm
option or
using
you
speakerphone, talking mad loud, thinking I have to talk loud as hell.
like it's a
Cause I don't
walkie-talkie?
understand how this little ass speaker is picking up my voice. That was a
Yeah.
culture shock for me. Like the phone, the cell phone, when I finally got one, it was crazy. It was, and then for me, I had support from individuals I was up north with. When I got released to finally made it to the city, you know what I'm saying? It was people that I knew. Knew more guys in New York City that I was in prison with than I actually knew in Buffalo. Like I know people in Buffalo, but a lot people that I grew up with and stuff like that. But I met a lot of individuals in prison, and then
Did you bring out a bond that like to present day y'all are
yeah,
still
yeah. I had got one of my daughter, actually my daughter's godfather. Um, he got me a phone. He got me sneakers. He got me money. You know what I'm saying? He took care of me. You know what I'm saying? Um, he's still like a brother to me this day. You know what I'm saying? My son, my man, my son, he introduced me to Vlad, who employed me as security. You know what I'm saying? So that kept a couple dollars in my pocket. Um,
so
they
staying?
helped me to acclimate. You know what I'm saying? Whoever I was around, they helped me to acclimate to society, just being around. I wasn't used to that. It blew my mind. They used to have to tell me. I used to go in industry parties and put my back against the wall and just be on some like looking around, trying to take everything in like I'm in a yard or something. But it's like people don't understand. Like, I'm not used to this. I gotta, you get what I'm
All these
saying?
people, I got to be ready.
Yeah, I gotta
Pull
be
up.
ready, but and I want to have a good time. I want to laugh. I want to smile, but it's like, nah, because if I laugh and smile too much, y'all might think I'm a joke. You get
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah,
it was a lot emotionally. That's a lot to deal with. You know what I'm saying? Trying to process your and have a good time dealing with your PTSD. You like, damn, what if something pop off? What if disco? I gotta know where the door at. I gotta know where this. It was a lot. And I used to try to have a good time. Sometimes I did have a good time, but and if I learned that if things is too much for me, just to go outside and take a deep breath and or go to the bathroom or I'll call somebody. You know what I'm saying? I'll call my girl, but like, listen, this is what's going on. I remember I was out one time, right? I was at a industry event with a Vlad and Kanye people was there, like some people from Chicago, his managers and all that was there, and we was in Mr. Chow's, something like that. One of them big restaurants. We in there. So people eating, they about to start eating. So I'm like, yo, these some famous people, these some important people. I don't even know how to eat in front of these people. So I walked off and went to the bathroom and called my girl. I'm like, listen, I'm in front of some important people. Boom, boom, boom. I don't want to be eating like no nigga. So how I'm supposed to eat? She said, listen, you go in there and you take your time. She said, put your napkin across your, you know, it's bugged out to hear it, but I didn't know how to eat. So she's like, put your
yeah.
napkin across your lap and just take your time and just eat. You watch how everybody else is eating. Don't eat with your hands. Use your utensils or whatever. Man, I came back and sat down. They was eating like because they was. I was like, oh, okay.
Like they on the chow hall.
Yeah, like they was on time. I was like, all right, was this cool? But that made me nervous. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's been a couple times that I had to leave out because I didn't know what to do. I was in an interview one time and I didn't have my license, but I was driving to get to my job. I didn't have my license at the time, so I'm in the middle of an interview. I was like, excuse me, I gotta use the bathroom. It was a big interview. They was like trying to put me on, because they liked the way I moved. So I left out, went to the bathroom, come on, I said, what am I supposed to say about this? Da-da-da. She said, just say this, just say that. When I got in there, they end up not giving me the job because of something. It was like some stipulation where they was like, okay, we don't need you for that. But it was a situation that I wasn't mentally equipped for or emotionally equipped to deal with, and I would have to like reject myself from it and pull myself away and go call somebody and be like, okay, you got the confidence to do this, you could do it. And sometimes it still happened to me. You get what I'm saying? Like I was panicking, like I can't get online right now. I can't. He waiting for me. She like, take a deep breath. Just relax. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it'll just kick in because I'm the type of person I like to be on time. I don't like to waste people's time. I like to be punctual. You get what I'm saying? I like for people to know that I'm taking what they do serious because I take what I do serious. Like, you get what I'm saying?
It's just respectful of people's time, like you would expect
Right,
people to be
right,
doing.
right, right.
But like I'm listening, man, and it's being the one thing I identify is like that self-conscious. Like everybody's looking at me. I want to do the right thing. I don't
Hmm.
want that self-conscious feeling once you're out. And yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
And after all that time, man, it must be like magnet, like within those first few days. That's what I definitely I wrote that question down. I'm like, man, how would that feel? Using phones,
yeah,
microwaves, and
yeah. Look, you know what's
all
crazy
the
about
movies you had
microwaves?
to catch up on.
It crazy about my. I didn't know how to use a microwave when I went from a max to a medium. So the mediums had microwaves, the maxes didn't. I didn't know how to use a microwave, and I was kind of embarrassed to ask the dude like, "Yo, how you use this microwave?" But he knew that one of the guys I was talking about him the other day to my man Unique. I ran into some individuals that didn't mind teaching and educate me on how to do certain things, and I was open to learn. You get what I'm saying? And that's why but that's how I was raised, anyways. Like if you whatever you don't know, you seek and you should find. You
Well,
get
you
what I'm saying? I
from
used to read, and that's how my father bred me to be. Like you want to be educated. If you don't know something, you go read up on. You ask questions. So that carried me a long way. Having the ability to do that, not being afraid to say, okay, you know what, I need help, or how you do this, or how you. A lot of individuals that act like they know how to do something and they don't know, and just sit there and not be dumbfounded and be uneducated about something and act like they know it and make themselves look foolish. Because there's no such thing as a stupid question. You get what I'm saying?
that's correct.
Yeah.
Speaking of OG, right? Because I'm a big believer in, like, there are no OGs anymore. There's
Hmm.
no role models anymore. And moreover, the youth don't want good role models. Like, they're looking to these rappers and whatever images. So that brings me to ask this question. If you could go to a younger version of yourself, like before you got into that time and you did that, if you could go to him, and you know how you receive advice and all that, you know how hot-headed you are, so you can't go and just give a lecture.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? What would you, and you have a very limited time. You've got probably 20 seconds. I'm gonna give you 15 seconds. What would you tell the younger version of you to steer you a different path? Maybe you'd give them Google Stock Exchange advice. What would you say to that younger version?
To my 15-year-old self,
Yep. Maybe it's
um,
6, maybe it's 17 and a half, right before the incident. But if you could go back, what would you tell to steer you in a better direction now? You only got
I
15
would
seconds.
tell myself, be patient with myself and give myself grace. Be
So
patient
so
and
so
give
do you
myself
think that
grace.
you would do you think that you would receive those words? Be patient, give yourself grace.
I don't think at the rate that I was moving, I don't think that I received that, but I would tell myself that because it's things that see, this is the thing about lessons, right? Lessons are not received, right? Lessons are learned. You get what I'm saying? So it's like you can give me a lesson, but I still have to learn it. And learning is a process. You don't just learn something. Like you can learn something and be like, okay, this it. People can give you a lesson. You be like, okay, I learned that. But you have to actually practice it for it to become, something that's of you that you do. You get what I'm saying? It becomes like a discipline thing with yourself when you identify, okay, this is what I do. This is what I practice. You get what I'm saying? So it's been lessons that was given to me at that age that they wasn't, I had to actually learn them through trial and error. You get what I'm saying? So somebody tell me to be patient and giving myself grace is like back then, okay, I hear you, but how do I actually apply that? You get what I'm saying? Because at 15, 16, you don't even have, you're not even equipped to really apply, give yourself grace and be patient because everything is moving at fast pace. And you moving at a pace of your peers and everything that's going on around you. You get what I'm saying? So now how it resonates with me now, it's like, oh, I did that. I don't have to do this. You get what I'm saying? When I go into places, I don't have to say I'm tough because I've gave myself the patience to know and the grace to know that I don't have to act this way. People are going to attract to me. You get what I'm saying? And I don't have to be reactive. I just have to think my way through things. You get what I'm saying? Have patience with myself. Be willing to make a bad choice and be like, you know what? I'm accountable for that. I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna fix that and actively work towards fixing it. You get what I'm saying? So giving yourself grace is just that, knowing that you're gonna make mistakes. You get what I'm saying? You're gonna make bad choices in decisions and judgment. If I didn't give myself grace with the crime that I committed, then I would be living in debt and living in, you get what I'm saying? Like feeling like down all the time. And I don't let people do that to me because I'm not bounded by what I did. It's what I'm doing now. You get what I'm saying? So
I do.
that's me still giving myself grace, knowing that I'm capable of doing anything I want to do in life that I set forth for doing. You get what I'm saying?
That's a fact. I like that. When you were in there and you came out, I'm positive that you had a lot of paperwork, like ideas that you had written down. You seem like a thinker. What was your plan when you got, what vision did you have? Day one, day two, not day, my first 30 days. Everybody has a plan. What was your plan coming out of jail?
My plan was just to get a job, right? It was just I never had a job. I never had a summer job. I never had a summer youth job.
Oh,
I've
wow.
never had a job in my life. So my plan was to get a job. So the first job I applied for and my first, excuse me, say like 30 days was CVS, right? So it was in Canarsie. I did not know how to get there. I had back then used to have to print stuff out how you get to places. You Google Map, I forgot what it was called, MapQuest or something like that.
MapQuest.
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 Used to have to print. This is '09. I'm following instructions to MapQuest. So I get to the place and I'm late. And when I get there, I had to walk, I had to catch a bus. I had to catch like 3 buses. I get there and they tell me I'm late, that they can't see me. And I wanted that job so bad. I cried. Like cause I wanted a job. You know what I'm saying? That shit hurt my feelings. I was just like, damn, I wanted that. I needed that for me. I wanted to have some type of financial stability for myself. I didn't really want nobody taking care of me. You get what I'm saying? Even though I know I was just fresh home, I didn't want that. And that hurt me, like that I couldn't get that. And I didn't get a job till like oh I had some temp stuff like 2010, 2011, but I didn't really get a job till like 2012 at a bar. And then from there, I just built. You know what I'm
And
saying? I
so
left the situation that I was in, huh?
how long was it
It was
from when you
like
got out?
3 years to really get a stable job. That was in the bar. Then after I had that job, I quit because they was playing with my money. I was like, nah, I ain't gonna do this. So I quit. I signed up for security to be a security, and I worked that job for like 5 6 months. I couldn't get my license because of my background. So I failed the background thing. I couldn't get my license. So I had to apply in the end of 2012 going into 13. I had to apply for 2013 going into 14. I applied for something called a it's like something that's saying you rehabilitated. I forgot what it's actually called. I think it's called Certificate of Relief from Disability, where the employer sees that your certificate and be like, okay, he's rehabilitated, even though he has this felony, we can employ him. That's up to their discretion, right? So I earned that, so I was able to get my go back and apply for certification to be a security guy, right? But my girl was like, once you what you was doing when you was locked up, you was counseling. Once you go to school for that. So we sacrificed and I went to school for that. You get what I'm saying? I went to school for like 8 9 months. I and then I got hired like in October 2014. I got hired as a case manager, and then I did that for like probably like 8 months, 12 months, because it was like a it's nonprofit, not for profit. So the contract had ran out. Then I was a what is it called? A recovery coach for adolescents. Then I became an adolescent counselor, and I had like
So
3 positions all in the same workplace. And during that time, like I had a lot of positive impact. It was a lot of like, they believed. I was like one of the youngest people there, and they believed in me, and a lot of young people looked up to me. I had
you believe in me. That's crazy. That's a dope story, man.
yeah.
That's a
So
dope
my
because
vision that I had, for me, it came into fruition.
yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And I said how much I wanted to make, and I was like 2 grand from it, but I was close. You get what I'm saying? And I said I wanted my own office. I had my own office, and my daughter. I had got custody of my daughter in like 2014. It's an incident that happened with her mother, but everything was like perfect timing for me, right? And she saw me working. That meant a lot to me. My daughter saw me in the office working. I used to come have her dropped off to me, and she used to just sit and wait for me. And she saw my impact, what I mean, on people and what I was doing because they knew who she was. It's like, oh, this is daughter, come. So that meant a lot to me too.
Well, and to your pride and your chest, I'm working somewhere where like I'm proud of. I want to be here. I look
Yeah,
forward to
that
it.
it meant a
I don't
lot. Yeah,
I don't
definitely.
think people understand complexity that we face going and getting a job. Because go get a job, that sounds like it just, man, you just got to stick to it.
Hmm.
You dug the hole, you got to get up out of it. But man, it is a uphill battle. Like nobody wants to do lawn work. So, and if you're even in that rehabilitative state where like, okay, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to do the right thing, it's hard, like no after no after no. So not only are you in this recovery rehabilitative state and all, but you have to have tough skin. You have to stick to it. Like in order for you to get where you are, that took years. Like how many of us are gonna sit back and continue to do the right thing for years when they know they can go grab, or do, or the lick, or the, what would you say to a young, because you went to prison under something. What'd you go to prison for?
Manslaughter. I went to
Manslaughter.
prison for manslaughter. It was me and another individual. We was both 17. It was a feud that really started over. He was from another side, I was from another side. It was a feud that started over a female initially, and we didn't like each other. Um, but it was one of those them ongoing things where I don't see you, don't do nothing to him because da da da. Okay, all right. But I was one of those individuals at the time where I carry how I carry. You know what I'm saying? Like I'ma see you when I see you. Like we gotta have a conversation type.
So
So
what would
this
you
was a
what what would you say to a 17-year-old that's living like that? That's about mine, and them cats over from 24, and what would you say to somebody right now?
I'm asking what he value most because whatever you value most, you're gonna lose. It's a possibility that you're gonna lose. If you value family, you're gonna lose that. If you value your freedom, you're gonna lose that. If you value your mind, you may lose that too. It's a lot of things that you're gonna lose by the decision that you make. So it's I would tell him to reevaluate, like reevaluate what you value. If you don't value something, hey, listen, you got to be willing to accept the consequences that come with that. And I didn't know how real that was until I was standing in front of a judge and he told me, he made me say that I was guilty of this. And I'm like, nah, because I didn't feel that way because I felt like it was just a fight. So I didn't know how to show remorse at that time. So I would tell him like, you're gonna lose more than you gain. You're gonna lose like right now, you might feel like you want to answer to your ego, but you're gonna lose more than you gain. So actually reevaluate and think about what you're doing. And if you feel secure on the decision that you make that decision and just be able to live with the decision that you're making. Nobody told me that be able to live with the decisions that you make. And they told me that, listen, you shouldn't do that because you want to do this. You want to play football, right? So you shouldn't be out here doing that. But why? Why shouldn't I do that? Why shouldn't I answer to that? You get what I'm saying? So those are lessons that I had to learn on my own. So I would just give it to him like, listen, like once you cross that line and say that you're gonna be willing to suffer the consequences that come with that.
It's a hard road, man. And like I do reaction videos all the time where I scour the internet and I'm looking at these different arrests. And the common denominator in those arrests is, man, cats get real respectful in that back seat. And when they're in the courtroom and all that, you be a gangster on the block and in the dorm, but when Sarge come through, you real mindful and respectful. But at 7 a.m. or whatever, you want to slam your locker because you living like that. I'm a bad at and I got my headphones. I ain't hear that shit. But when Sarge come around, cats is kind of like that, man.
And then another harsh reality that I would say, like, if do you feel comfortable with showing another man your ass? Is you comfortable with bending over and showing a man your ass just so you can see your family? Is you comfortable with that? Because I feel like if I can do that, if I did that after doing that, it's nothing that can humiliate me. It's not. It should be nothing that I'm not willing to do to keep my freedom after bending over and showing another man my ass. You get what I'm saying? For me to see my family.
Yep,
You get what I'm saying?
that is a part of the strips, and it because getting stuff back and forth in through the drugs and all that, they want you to squat and cough, just like Pat, but they want you to turn face the other way. They looking
Face
at
the
your
other
ass.
way.
They want you to bend over so they can see and grab with both hands and open. I need to see that motherfucker wing. And like
That's
you
the
get
most degrading thing that I ever experienced in my life. And the
and the
man told
officers know that it's degrading,
they
and
know
that's why
that.
they love seeing the thugs and the big boy. I know you somebody in your block. Bend over, squat and cough.
Yup. Yup. I didn't see. What you mean you
I,
ain't see? I didn't see well enough. Like, okay. So I see what's going on here. So in my mind, I used to just block it out. It just I compartmentalize whatever that pain is, whatever that embarrassment is, whatever that degrading thing is, I just compartmentalize. So it's just procedure to me. Let's do it. What you need me to do? Oh, lift them up, put them up, boom, and it ain't nothing to me. Cause at the end of the day, I know this is what I need to do in order for me to see my family and for me to get back to where, So you learn coping skills. You learn how to cope with that. As inhumane as it is, you learn to cope with it.
There's a lot that you learn in there, and especially like at the young age, all those you're still growing and maturing and everything. And some people get swallowed up. Like they go that long. You know the type. They're still in the drugs. They're gooped out on this or on that. They're begging for money from home. Soon as they get it, it's already owed out. Or they always want to buy the certain, like, your personality festers in it. And if you're not the type to want to grow, that are always in the law library or doing constructive stuff, you'll continue on whatever path, whatever path. It's a
Mhm.
breeding ground. It's a town. The staff don't care what you do. They just care that you show up to work because they're gonna get that labor out you. And on your free time, you do what you do. So some people are stagnant every day. They're playing cards. They're doing this. They're doing that. There's a group of people that they're doing the programs. And this is on their free time because you're gonna work. So they're doing the programs and helping out when AA come, NA, or they've got guidance counselors and all that. And that's what I know you had
Yeah,
going
I
on.
did. I stayed busy, man. I stayed. A dude told me my first week up top, Myra. A guy told me, he said, "Listen, do the time. Don't let the time do you." He said that, and my great grandmother told me a couple days before that, "Do your time and come home." So I automatically in my mind, it's like, this is what I gotta do. I had a stranger tell me that, and I had somebody that mean the world to me told me, do your time and come home. So my mind was focused. Like, okay, and even if I ran into a situation, okay, I may be derailed, but I'm jumping back right back on that rail, and I'm focused on. I put my blinders on and be like, okay, I'm focused on getting where I gotta be because it's not. And another thing is not, it's not destined for you to make it home. It's people that never made it home. It's people that got killed in prison. You know what I'm saying? It's people that still getting killed in prison. You get what I'm saying? Not making it home to their families.
What was the scariest or craziest situation you were
I
at?
seen a dude, I seen a dude get stabbed right in front of me in Clinton in the neck with a big ass banger. We call him it's a shank banger, whatever. Like he got stabbed in his neck, and he got stabbed in his neck because a dude asked him to get off the gate because he was trying to sleep, and he told him to suck his dick. So the next day, I'm walking on the blacktop because you got to line up in the sand. You walk on the blacktop, and I just see dude arms swing past me to the other dude and hit him in the neck, and he did this shit right in front of the police, like right in front of the COs. Stabbed him in the neck and threw the knife in the air and just put his hands up. He ain't try to hide it, like he just threw it in the air, put his hands up, and I was just like, damn, that's crazy. I jumped back like, oh, you get what I'm saying? It was that right there, and I seen the dude get bashed in his head with a big ass stone in Clinton. Clinton, I saw a lot of stuff. That was like gladiator school for me. Like I seen dudes get cut my first day in population. I seen a dude going to child, seen a dude get cut side his face, and I was all right. I know not to play the front of the line. But when I seen a dude get hit in the head with a boulder and that dude just stabbed somebody in front of the police and just threw his hands up, and that dude was on life support. I don't know if he died, but I know he was on life support after that. That shit made me say, yo, I gotta get out of these maxes. I gotta get into a medium because I don't have life. I don't got 25 life. And I value my life. It was dudes that's in there that's like, yo, when you come into the yard, you come into the yard with us, you come into the yard. If you got keep like they want you to stay in it, they want you to hang out with them. Like, I'm not with that, bro. Nah.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
no.
get the fuck out of here. I'm not trying to stay in here with y'all. Like this not my life.
Because and mentally, them they be there. They be present. Like the outside is the outside, and that's the cloud out here from
Yeah,
y'all.
dudes be
Not here.
they institutionalize they so when I tell people how much time I did, they can't believe it. They be like, damn, you did all that time? And your mind and your faculties still in order. I remember I had went to go see Vlad and he was interviewing Tony Yayo and Vlad told him how much time I did. And he was like, you did 16. He said, that's a blessing, homie. And your faculties is still in order. You get what I'm saying? And you helping out the youth, you a counselor too. That's what's up. Like, that felt good coming from, an entertainer or rapper that didn't personally know me, and somebody told him about that, and he acknowledged it. You get what I'm saying? And deemed it honorable. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
So
you don't really know what's on people's mind when they hear things or what you go. So I was just like, yo, I appreciated that.
so you did a who is that? Dang, the rapper. What's the podcast you did?
Just the one recently,
Yeah,
Dog in the Yard.
Dog in the Yard. Dog in the Yard.
Pistol
And
Pete.
that's
Shout out to Pistol Pete.
Pistol Pete. Pistol Pete. Yeah. So I'm not on the podcast circuit. I don't know why stuff doesn't come on my feed, but I heard that he's got like a real solid podcast. He's got a real shout out. Hell yeah, man. It's crazy, man. And I was talking to my dad about getting out, like, 'cause he's saying, like, let's move. I need to move to a different place. We're talking about. He's like, yeah, why don't you just, because I've got good credit. I work on I'm religious with my credit, but that's just
Mm-hmm.
not it. It's hard to get stuff. I watched a survey where a teacher had 100 students fill out applications, and a white convicted felon is on kind of the same wavelength as a non-convicted. Like they have the same numbers. So if you black and got a record, you black got a record, and you're young, like you fall so far down on that it's crazy. You can't get a house, apartment. It's got to be in your baby mama name, so now you're tied to that.
Yeah, I've been through all that. I still go through that. I still listen. I still go through that. I just went through something with the job that I had because I had to get certified in this state. I had to get certified in order to work with youth after 6 months. So I had to write a letter, a detailed letter explaining the narrative of the crime I committed, and to get 3 individuals from my job to write reference letters. So this took me out of employment for like a month and a half because they had to put it in front of a board, and then I missed that board because they wanted to. It came in front of that board, so they was like, okay, wait a minute, but what is this from 30 years ago? And I'm just like, damn, don't the laws say that 10 years, 7 years? What are we talking about for 30 years ago? You get what I'm saying? So my employer didn't even know. They just knew I had a background. And I told them up front, I said, listen, I got a background. What is your background? It's manslaughter. Okay, it's manslaughter. It's that manslaughter is not murder. Okay, boom. Okay, we could deal with that. So they knew it. You get what I'm saying? So, but they didn't know the details of it because I'm like, if you don't ask me the details, I'm not gonna tell you the details. So I just had to, then moving forward, I had to explain in detail in order for me to get certified to work there. I had to explain in detail. So I'm like, and so I was on delay for like with 2 jobs because I was working 2 jobs that required that I have this certification. So it's still setbacks that I received, you know what I'm saying, just from my past, even when I don't want to, and that's something that I would tell them too. You gotta think about your future, how it's gonna impact your future, because it does. Like a decision that you made that I made 30 years ago is still impacting my life. You know what I'm
And,
saying?
and that brings me to say, like, when you're a convicted felon, and then you have to be relentless. Like if you want a job, you're trying to pursue whatever it is you're trying to pursue. Like it's not even uphill. Like it's a wall, and you gotta scale that motherfucker, bro. If you don't just want to be, working mover jobs, you can go get a mover job. Day labor is always hiring and all that. But some people want to propel themselves and excel. Some people don't want to get it. They an apartment in their baby mama name. Some people want to actually get a nice apartment because they're living, they've got a good job, so they want to stay out there and whatever the fuck,
Mm-hmm.
and they can't because when they check that thing, and I'm trying, I've been out year, 2 years, whatever. I'm trying. I got a good job. They don't want to hear that. They see the box. It is a hindrance. It's a hindrance.
Yeah.
Cats are
I'm
they're
working. I'm
scaling.
working on get mine sealed. I'm working on get mine where they can't see it. So it's some guys that I know from my town, from Buffalo. Um, Community awareness. They call. I think it's called community. It's called community. So I forgot the name right now. But they're working diligently alongside some others with trying to push forward to because they had already signed a clean slate bill where if you got a certain amount of time in
And how much
and
time
you
do you
how
have
much
to?
time I so how much time so I
But
did 16.
But how much time do you have without a record,
Oh,
clean
with
out?
I've been out 16 in August. It makes 16 years I've been out.
Congratulations.
I haven't been back to prison since I was released. I had an infraction where I was on the train and they see me walking through the car doors and they took me in and then they let me go. But I never like got violated or went back to prison. You get what I'm saying? Never.
Well,
Like my
they
six.
should be able to see.
This would be August 21st and make 16 years.
Do they have stipulations on seal, like they can't
Yeah,
seal
they have.
capital?
So it depends on your the nature of your crime. Like it can't be an A felony. It could be a B, but it can't be an A. It
Which
can't
is
be
like capital offenses, like capital
yeah,
murder,
yeah.
murder one.
And you can't you got to have a certain amount of years off parole. So I classify for that because I've been on parole since 2012. I got off. I was on 2009. 3 years. I did 3 years on parole. I got off.
You got plenty of time. You got
Yeah,
plenty of
because I did everything I was supposed to do. Like they told me to do my programs, did my programs. I got employed, got a job. They wasn't messing with me about nothing because I was doing everything I was supposed to do. Because I was pretty much programmed to go to program. You get what I'm saying? So it's just like I was doing that in there. Why wouldn't I come here and do that? And I wasn't trying to get derailed from like, yo, I didn't want to go back. So I did everything I was supposed to do to prevent myself from going back, you know?
and that's hard for people to stay on that
It
path.
is. You just have to surround yourself with people that want to see you out. Like you got to surround yourself with people that the individuals that I was hanging, even when I was in Brooklyn and I hung out with dudes that I never met before in my life. One dude that I met in prison, the prison that I was released from, I met him. He saw me and was like, "Yo, what you doing out here?" Introduced me to some good dudes, and when I went out with them, they made sure I made my curfew. If I was eating something, drinking something that got weed in, don't drink that, don't eat that, don't do. You get what I'm saying? Like they protected me. I didn't been in clubs and dudes bumping me, and I'm just like, yo, why the fuck this dude keep bump me again? So I'm like, okay, cool. I be outside waiting for this dude, and they be like, what you doing? I'm like, no, I'm just waiting to talk to this dude. They be like, no, 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 they'll come get me. Somebody will bump me. Oh no, they'll look for me. They'll always made sure I was good. Always made sure I was good. Some real good solid dudes from Coney Island, man. Shout out to them. So it's about 4 or 5 of them that looked out for me. Like they took me in like family. You get what I'm saying? And I wasn't like I didn't move like one of them. You get what I'm saying? I didn't move like a city cat. So they was just like oh, this dude moved different. Like it's more of like a southern upbringing. I got like I was raised by people that's from the south, so it's like my upbringing is a little different. So I was embraced by a lot of people that held me down. They're protecting me from going back, even if I was, you know what I'm saying? And I'm the type of person that listen. You tell me something once, okay, that's what it is, because I don't know. I haven't been here, so I listen.
Me too, man. As long as it makes sense,
Yeah, if it
sounds
makes
good,
sense, yeah. If it don't make
coming from
sense,
a good
I got
source.
my own judgment, you know. If it don't make sense, it's different.
If you don't see, if the messenger fucked up, I ain't trying to hear none of that.
Yeah.
You can't give me no lecture, and you just is all crazy,
I
doped
hear
up
you
and
though,
all that.
because you
Yeah,
might say something. I don't totally dismiss it. I'll hear it. I'm not going. I'm just going. I'm not going to fully receive it, but I'll hear you. You get what I'm
right.
saying? I'll hear you out. I'm not going to just totally dismiss it because it might be something there that because that's just like saying you see a bum on the street, right? And he's like, hey man, they down there shooting. I don't think you should go around that corner yet, right? And because he's sitting there and he a bum and he asks you for some money and this, you like, man, I ain't paying you no mind. You walk around that corner and that might be the last time you walk around that corner. You get what I'm saying? So it's like I'm not gonna really judge a person based on how they look or sometimes they presentation. It's something that you said that I store it, boom, and process it because
Might not be
like the
accepted.
commercial say you can learn a lot from a dummy. You get what I'm saying? Like you'll learn what not to do, or you just can't really. I'm not so quick to judge on that too much.
I'm
It'll
a
be
little.
hard for me to receive, but I just can't dismiss it. You can't dismiss.
I'm a little judgmental. Like that same homeless man, I can listen to the advice on, you know, or watch out they shooting around the corner, but he can't give me credit advice. Like he's
Okay.
not. I'm going to be looking at him and, hey man, listen man, I'm going to tell you something about these stocks. It's going to be hard for me to believe his message. He can tell me about something that, you can't give me relationship advice and it's not working for you.
Oh, I just don't. I'm not saying I'm not gonna totally dismiss it, but it's good to be judgmental too. I'm not gonna lie. It's good to be. Sometimes you have to be.
I'm very selective on the information that I receive to let filter in because I know a
Nah,
couple things
I
about him.
respect that. I respect
I'm
that.
looking in my day. I'm sorry. That's awesome, man. You are a counselor and doing your thing, bro. That's a success story. That's a success story. But we are going to wrap this up, guys. If you guys have stayed this long, thank you very much for the support. Uh, catch my guy, Rest.
Pressure.
Opressure. Opressure. I'm going to give you a follow. His Instagram link will be in the description below. Um, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe and stay tuned for more awesome content like this.
Appreciate you, bro. Thanks for having me.